So, hi Amit sir. Amit sir from Nisus Finance, NiFCO. So, sir, I have one question for you. With increasing global interest rate volatility and external shocks, how would Indian banks enhance risk management frameworks to ensure financial stability in the long run?
So I think the central bank is one of the foremost regulators when it comes to the interest rate regime and what kind of interest rate curves we're likely to see basis macroeconomic and other fiscal parameters. We've seen that we've had a fantastic stable economy even in the face of the 2008 global financial crisis because of the deft handling of credit and not allowing over financialization of credit in the retail asset classes. So I think that's a very important factor because of which we've had a very stable interest rate regime over the last 8 quarters, where very small cuts have been made to basically taper inflation or keep inflation or other macro indicators in check. Unlike triggers taken by other World Bank regulators, which have been more spontaneous rather than more tempered about their approach. So I don't think we have any interest rate volatility risk as such. Second is that because we're a consumption economy and a self-reliant economy in a very large way, so therefore any inherent rate risks do not really change the cost of commodities for us so much. And therefore, it does not really lead to an extraordinary situation of import inflation or export reduction on export trade bills. So, I don't think our interest rate regimes really keep us awake to the extent that we see other economies which are over leveraged or are not at just the economy level but at the unit level or depend extraordinarily on imports to sustain their economic growth. So, I think that is not a challenge for us.
So another question, which is your field, about your field, what would it take to democratize real estate finance?
I think a significant changes have been seen since 2016-17 with the advent of RERA, which first brought transparency. Before democratization, you need to create a very strong, robust regulatory institutional framework which espouses confidence and therefore allows people to invest fearlessly. I think that was a very important legislation followed by insolvency and bankruptcy code to demonetization. There was a spate of parallel economy which was being felt by consumers where there was a significant unaccounted leakage of capital which had to be stemmed. And I think demonetization did that to some extent. And finally, it was further achieved by GST by making a uniform tax code which allowed all transactions to mandatorily be passed through a tax regime of GST. So I think that has created a far more robust institutional framework for retail as well as global investors, which is why we see such robust FDI inflows today. Unlike what we've seen in the last 50 years, we've seen more in the last 5 years. So I think that's important. Now, so financial inclusion first comes with regulatory framework. And creating a robust ecosystem. Then second comes by creating right financial products. So we talked about the advent of REITs, where even small investors can today actually buy a portion of a housing or a office building, okay, which was otherwise only the privilege of the rich and the few. I think that's financial inclusion. Then SME REITs to a lot of developers obviously generating large profits and accessing capital markets and distributing those profits. To of course now also the advent of things like tokenization. I'm seeing a lot of sandbox, regulatory sandbox being utilized for the purpose of democratization of real estate through tokenization and other digital asset solutions, which will further enhance the ability of people to access assets without having to physically own them or put large amounts of money, but create right amount of tradability for the right amount of value and upside. So I think there is a lot of work which has already gone in, and I see that accelerating further over the next 10 years because I think now we have the technology, the framework, as well as the appetite for us to go ahead and do this.